They told you midlife crisis happens at 40, maybe 50. What they didn't warn you was that it could actually happen at 37, 32, sometimes even 34, when you're supposed to be young, grateful, and finally figuring your life out. But instead, you feel confused, restless, and tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. And the scariest part about this is you don't even know what exactly is wrong. If that's you, stick around, because midlife crisis in your 30s is real. And this is a topic nobody talks about, honestly. Hi, my name is Ndifweke. You can call me Ndi, and welcome to my channel. If you've seen my face for the first time, you're very welcome. On this channel, we talk about personal growth, mindset, self-development, and sometimes I share little vlogs, a sneak peek into my personal lifestyle as a solo mom. This is a space for honesty, growth, becoming better one step at a time. Without wasting your time, let's talk. Your 30s is a decade where discipline stops being optional and self-awareness becomes necessary. At some point in your 30s, life doesn't look the way you imagine, and that is where you pause. That's not because something dramatic happened, but because nothing is happening the way you expected it to be. You followed the rules, you tried to do the right things, you sacrificed, you survived your 20s. Yet you're here staring at your life and asking yourself, is this really it? Is this what my life is all about? Did I choose wrong? Why don't I feel happier by now? And to be very honest, I used to be in this place. I remember at some point, I think in my early 30s, I would question my life decisions. I would have so many things going on in my head. I honestly didn't know that I was maybe having a midlife crisis in my early 30s. After all these questions, then comes the guilt. Because on paper, your life might look fine, but in reality, there's this disconnection you have from yourself. The quiet discomfort you keep ignoring, that's not ungratefulness, that is not weakness, that is actually a midlife awakening disguised as crisis. The first truth: this is not a crisis, it's a collision. Midlife crisis in your 30s is not about buying a fast or fancy car. It's not also about quitting overnight. It's a collision between who you thought you'd be, who you actually are, and who you are quietly becoming. Your 30s will force you to confront reality. The dreams you carried in your 20s will meet real responsibilities, bills, relationships, children, marriage, career pressure, and so many expectations. And suddenly life becomes very heavy, not because you are failing, but because you are outgrowing an old version of yourself. My second truth: you start mourning the life you never lived. And nobody prepares you for this part. In your 30s, you don't just live your life, you grieve the lives you didn't choose, the career path you abandoned, the relationships that could have worked, the version of you who took more risks, the version of you who didn't carry so much responsibilities. It will make you look at others and you start to think, if only I had chosen differently. And that comparison, it's brutal. But here's the truth nobody tells you: you are not jealous of other people's lives. You are only grieving your unrealized potential. And that grief needs knowledge, not shame. My third truth: your identity starts falling apart. In your 30s, the labels that once defined you stops working. Being the strong one, being the responsible one, being the successful one, being the good girl, and being the provider. Those identities kept you safe, but now in your 30s, they feel suffocating. And then you start asking dangerous questions. I remember sometime, I think when I was 31, I would ask myself questions like, who am I without my role? If I wasn't a mom, what would I be doing at this point in my life? I would ask myself questions like, what do I really want? What if nobody needed anything from me? Who would I be? And it's in this place of all of these thoughts is where many people panic, because losing your identity feels like you're losing yourself, when in reality, you're actually meeting yourself. My fourth truth is that you feel behind even when you're not. One of the most painful parts of your 30s is the constant feeling of being behind. I remember when I had my daughter, I would be on social media and I felt like everybody was going ahead. I felt like I was in a race where I was the only one behind and everyone was ahead of me. And I would ask myself questions like, will I ever meet up? These people are going to be this, they are going to be that. I felt like I was behind in career, behind in finance, behind in love, behind in my purpose. And to be honest, it took me a while to actually get myself out of that headspace. Social media makes it worse because everybody seems to be ahead on social media. Someone is getting married, someone is being engaged, someone is having a child, someone is traveling, someone is getting a new job, someone is getting a new car. People are winning. But what you don't see in all of that is the depth they are in, the burnout, the loneliness, the fear, the regret they feel. I realized quickly that the timeline of other people I was comparing myself to wasn't real. Life is not a race, and your path doesn't need to look like anyone else's to be valid. My number 5 truth is you have been exhausted because you've been surviving for too long. This part is very important because you are not lazy, you are not unmotivated, you are not broken, you are just tired. Tired from carrying emotional weight alone, being strong for everyone else, putting your needs last, constantly adapting, never fully resting. Your 30s will expose burnout that started years ago, and your body always remembers what your mind tries to forget. My 6th truth: everything you are avoiding in your 30s will come to the surface. Distractions will stop working. You can't outrun unhealed trauma, unfulfilled desires, unspoken resentment, unlived truth. And that is why this phase feels so intense. The silence gets louder, the questions get deeper, the avoidance becomes very painful. But this discomfort, it's never punishment, it's an invitation to a better life. In all of this chaos, there's a turning point, and that is where growth begins. And what nobody tells you clearly enough is that midlife crisis in your 30s is not the end of your life. It's only the end of pretending. This season is where you stop living on autopilot, stop chasing approval, stop shrinking yourself, and you stop betraying your inner voice. It's where you rebuild, not based on who you should be, but who you truly are. And to be honest, it's very uncomfortable, but growth is. You might ask, what helps during this season of your midlife crisis in your 30s? I would honestly say slowing down, getting honest with yourself, letting yourself grieve, redefining success in your terms, asking for support without shame. This used to be something I do so much. Like, I would literally be at it, but I would never ask for support. You honestly don't have to have everything figured out. You just need to stop lying to yourself. That is where you begin. This is my reminder to anyone who feels like life is happening faster than they are. I just want to tell you that your 30s are not too late. They are not a failure, and they are not a dead end. They are rather a threshold. And honestly, the confusion that you feel right now means that your soul is ready for alignment. Clarity doesn't come from pressure, it comes from patience. Listen, if nobody told you this, let me tell you this clearly. You are not broken, you are not behind, you are not wasting your life. You are becoming. And this phase, this uncomfortable, emotional, confusing phase, is shaping the strongest, most authentic version of you. Take a breath. You are not having a midlife crisis, you are having a midlife awakening. If you made it this far, thank you so much for being with me here today. If you want honest conversations about personal growth, mindset, self-development, and navigating this beautiful life that we're blessed with, do well to subscribe and also hit the like button and turn on your notifications so you do not miss any of my videos. Until next time, bye-bye.